Part 75. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 742. In the main tomb chamber. Brahma's radiant light seems to be able to cure all evil thoughts in people's hearts. All desires disappeared and thousands of thoughts collapsed. However, everyone in the tomb at this moment was extremely nervous. Xuanhuan, Hu and others were panicking. Wu Date and Lin Zhujian are also worried. That monk was the unfathomable evil spirit left behind by Qing Chen in his previous life. Moreover, his path has reached a very terrifying level, nirvana. As a fellow practitioner of the Brahma path, he stood at an extremely high realm, but Qing Chen had only been on this path for a few years, and had not even entered the realm of chaos. At this moment, he is tempting Qing Chen with his supreme way. No one knows whether Qing Chen can strengthen his Taoist heart. Once the pure dust is shaken in the slightest, perhaps there will no longer be pure dust in this world, and evil spirits will be reborn through the reincarnation. Under the Bodhi tree, the holy light of nirvana almost invaded Qing Chen's body. However, it could only wander around Qing Chen's body and could not invade his body. This means that Qing Chen's mind is still struggling and hesitating. The monk spoke slowly and said, "Enter nirvana, you will be eternal, and this life will be eternal. In nirvana, all sins can be eliminated," he said, flicking his hand. In the tomb, Xie Shuijing's expression suddenly changed, and then she was directly focused by a ray of nirvana holy light. At this moment, the evil spirit in Shuijing's body was actually purified by this holy light of the Brahma. No. Shuijing trembled, her soul was being baptized by something unimaginable, as if she was being reborn. Just a moment. Shuijing, who was charming just now, seemed like a different person. Her eyes were big and clear, and only innocence remained on her charming face. Her blank gaze was like a newborn deer, timid about this world. The daughter of sin has changed her mind, she can be called a saint, and she has regained her perfect body. This is nirvana. The monk smiled slightly, then waved his hand and said, "When nirvana is reached, it can also ignite the fire of karma, burn sins and burn misfortunes." As soon as the words fell, Xuanhuan, Hu Yang Partridge and others all suddenly screamed miserably. When the holy light of the Brahma came, an invisible golden fire ignited around them. In the golden fire, images flashed by. That was when Xuanhuan raped and killed a lovely little junior sister in the section. That was when Hu poured baby blood into the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights in order to rob a large tomb somewhere. In order to practice the art of detecting the underworld, Yang Partridge set up a magic circle to completely wipe out a certain village. That's their fault. At this moment, sins became dry wood, the fire of Brahma was ignited, and their souls were burned, causing extreme pain. The sins will not disappear, the fire of karma will not be extinguished, and we will suffer forever. The monk smiled slightly and said, "This is the wonderland of nirvana. You and I are one, and my ways are your ways. In this life, we will save the entire ancestral world from the invasion of grey fog. Evolving all kinds of wonderful dharma and showing the supreme nirvana, he is just waiting for the pure thought." However, Qing Chen suddenly raised his eyes and said, "You mean, walking into nirvana is to resist the grey fog?" The monk nodded and said, "This is our ambition." Qing Chen shook his head and said, "Nirvana Wonderland is indeed very powerful. But I thought about it. It doesn't take so much trouble to deal with the grey mist." The monk said, "Why?" Qing Chen said, "As long as Master is here, the grey mist cannot stir up trouble." Hearing this, the monk was startled. He understood instantly. In terms of cultivation and Brahma path, he has indeed convinced Qing Chen. However, Qing Chen still has another rock in his heart. His master. As long as that rock is there, Qing Chen will never waver. This is an unspeakable belief. The monk pondered and said, Master, how have you and I ever had a master? On the road to the Brahma, you and I are the strongest, why do we need to worship others? Qing Chen shook his head and said, You didn't have a master in your previous life, so you died. I have it in this life, so I will live well. When the monk heard this, he was speechless and choked. But then, he asked seriously, Can your so-called master be in a state of concentration for a moment and know the power of eternity? Qing Chen shook his head. Master likes to drink tea. He often takes a nap under the peach tree. He is an old man who doesn't talk about eternity. Does your so-called master have the wisdom to deduce chaos and observe the sky and the earth? Master is fond of reading. There are 3 to 5 bamboo scrolls piled up in his desk. He is an old man and has no wisdom. Does your so-called master have a way to understand the world and save all sentient beings? Master is good at playing chess. There are also difficult endings on the chessboard. He is an old man and doesn't care about sentient beings. Can your so-called master have the power to become a real dragon and Zen to become a phoenix? Master likes meat. He keeps chickens, koi, and carps in his small courtyard. He is an old man who doesn't know about mythical beasts. Does your so-called master know the truth of the Supreme Brahma, the only true path? Master keeps his ambitions high and writes a few poems in his spare time. As an old man, he never talks about gods and Buddhas. The monk's witty words were eloquent, and every question he asked contained great wisdom, great supernatural powers, and great realms in the Brahma Dharma. Perhaps he was the only one in the world who could understand the true meaning. Qing Chen did not think twice, and every answer was a small scenery, a small past, and a small interesting story in the small courtyard. The world is rolling, and the only one who can keep it ordinary is the master. The monk listened to Qing Chen's words, but suddenly thought deeply. I teach you with great wisdom, great supernatural powers, and great realms, but you remain firm and motionless. Could it be that the small scenery and the past you have seen, are worth my methods? Muttering, he suddenly raised his eyes and stared into Qing Chen's eyes. At this moment, the evil spirit monk's eyes glowed brightly and profoundly, as if they could penetrate the universe, shake the ages, and detect all the cause and effect he wanted. He was looking through Qing Chen's eyes to find those small things that Qing Chen mentioned. Suddenly, he stopped, but in the blink of an eye, he saw what Qing Chen said in Qing Chen's eyes. Master likes to drink tea. He often takes a nap under the peach tree. He is an old man who doesn't talk about eternity. He clearly saw a terrifying existence whose body could not be accommodated in heaven and earth, and whose body could not be accommodated by all the realms of the universe, sitting calmly under an eternal peach tree, with peach branches and leaves hanging all over the avenue. Years are like waves, time is flowing, it exists in the tea room, eternity disappears, when you sigh, the years go against the flow. No. He doesn't talk about eternity, he is eternity. The monk was shocked. Master is fond of reading. There are 3 to 5 bamboo scrolls piled up in his desk. He is an old man and has no wisdom. The monk clearly saw that there were unobservable horror scriptures piled on those terrifying cases, as if every page was a manifestation of eternity and the lives of hundreds of millions of creatures depended on it. And when that person browsed at will, the world was changed, and all the people were changed. All the Tao, all the books, all the principles, and all the laws in the world were derived from the pages of that existence. He does not speak of wisdom, because he is wisdom itself. The monk is incredible. Master is good at playing chess. There are also difficult endings on the chessboard. He is an old man and doesn't care about sentient beings. The monk saw that that being was playing chess with himself, and the moves were shocking, and the game collapsed. The gods and Buddhas in the sky were all his chess pieces, and the great roads were just his chess pieces. He doesn't talk about all living beings, he dominates all living beings. The monk was instantly horrified. Master likes meat. He keeps chickens, koi, and carps in his small courtyard. He is an old man who doesn't know about mythical beasts. However, the monk clearly saw that in the small courtyard of the existence, there were a group of real phoenixes as companions, and a group of real dragons as fish. He doesn't know about the divine beasts. The divine beasts are like chickens and fishes to him. The monk was stunned. Master keeps his ambitions high and writes a few poems in his spare time. As an old man, he never talks about gods and Buddhas. The monk clearly saw that the being was calm and free, speaking casually, and it was vaguely a small poem. No Bodhi tree, nor stand mirror. There is nothing in the first place, so how can it cause dust? Hearing this poem from afar, the monk's mind went crazy, as if he had been struck by lightning. No. He doesn't talk about gods and Buddhas, because he is the eternal true Buddha. The monk murmured. In his eyes, the evil energy exploded and seemed to be overflowing. A ray of clarity appeared like a bright moon breaking away from a dark cloud. The monk's aura changed completely. As if he was waking up from a dream, he suddenly laughed miserably and said, "Ha, it turns out that this is the way forward for the Brahma, ha, I took the wrong path. Wrong way, ha. Don't talk about eternity, he is eternity. Don't talk about wisdom, he is wisdom. Not talking about all living beings, he rules over all living beings. I don't know about the mythical beasts. He keeps them in captivity. The silent Buddha, he is the eternal true Buddha." The evil monk laughed loudly and said, "I understand, it's that one. I'm back, I'm finally back, ha, I'm finally back. You are finally back." He spoke repeatedly, and his words actually seemed to be a mixture of sadness and joy, with sounds of crying and joy. The evil monk suddenly bowed deeply to Qing Chen. He is not worshipping Qing Chen, but worship the existence in King Chen's eyes. That one. Follow his bow. In the main tomb chamber, all the golden Brahma light suddenly disappeared. Dark and damp stone walls, dilapidated tombs everywhere. Where is the wonderland of Nirvana? Where is the ancient sacred tree? Where is the immortal monk? It was clearly just a cold and damp dilapidated tomb, with only a withered and rotten ancient tree and a burnt black relic. The ancient tree is silent and seems dead. The relics are speechless, as if they were extinct. The evil spirit has disappeared and the hatred has dispersed. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 743. In the tomb, everything disappeared. Wu Dade, Lin Zhichuan, Wu Xiaoqan and Big Black Dog all suddenly relaxed, and the feeling of being unable to move just now disappeared. Seeing the scene in front of them, they were all shocked. "What about the evil spirits?" Wu Dade spoke. "The evil spirit, dissipated." Lin Zhichuan sighed and said, "The reason why this evil spirit can exist is because senior brother Qing Chen had too many obsessions in his previous life. He wanted to save the world and fight against the grey mist. Even though he died, his obsession turned into an evil spirit and he has waited until today. But now that his obsession has dissipated, the evil spirit naturally no longer exists." There was a complex look in his eyes. The evil spirit left behind by senior brother Qing Chen in his previous life is really terrifying. His obsession and ambition will not fade away even though they are dead. He saw the master. The big black dog whispered, saying, "Just for a moment, I actually seemed to see the master show the ultimate avenue. I have never seen it before in this life. If the living beings on the road can see it, I am afraid they will soar into the sky and directly cross many natural chasms." The master also took pity on him. He pitied him for his death and transformed into evil, so he allowed him to see the ultimate. Otherwise, who in this world can get a glimpse of the master's true heritage. The eyes of the big black dog were also extremely complicated, as if they were feeling emotion and admiration. And at this moment, ahead, Qing Chen looked around blankly. The surroundings were cold, damp, and wrapped in layers of darkness. In this desolate place, in front of me is a withered ancient tree, its whole body cracked and scorched black, with no life left at all. A black relic lies quietly under the dead Bodhi tree. King Chen's eyes were filled with sadness, seeing him in such a scene in his previous life. "I'm here and everything will start again," he murmured, reaching out to pick up the black relic. However, the moment it was touched, the black relic turned into flying ash. In the cave, the last faint light and shadow appeared, and it turned out to be Qing Chen from the previous life. The monk smiled slightly at Qing Chen, with tears in his eyes. The murderer is still there. He is secretly watching the ancestral world, waiting for the master. An inaudible sound passed into King Chen's ears. The monk was a 10th monk in his previous life and followed in the footsteps of that one, but there was no master-disciple relationship in his previous life. However, at this moment, he also called himself master. Because, just for a moment, with the help of King Chen's eyes, he saw the Tao that was shown to him. If you hear the Tao in the morning, you will die in the evening. He who preaches, accepts karma and resolves doubts is a teacher. Although he never became a disciple, he respected that person as his teacher from the bottom of his heart. Therefore, he also calls himself master. When Qing Chen heard this, he was shocked and looked at the monk. In the past, he killed us, threw our corpses into the burial pit, and made them into puppets and evil slaves. I sense the breath of the corpses. The corpse has been sealed by the people at the end of 10,000 paths, but it is still a puppet. Remember to find the body and destroy it. Otherwise, once the body is discovered, the murderer will not have to step into the ancestral world, and the ancestral world will also be in trouble. Die for the ancestral realm during your lifetime, and do not cause harm to the common people after your death. The monk spoke secretly, finished speaking, and dispersed. Black powder slipped from King Chen's hands. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. King Chen's heart has already set off huge waves. It was the message left to him by his obsession in his previous life after he recovered his consciousness. In the past, King Chen's previous life was killed, thrown into a burial pit, and turned into puppets. And to this day, the puppet is still there. And destroying the puppet was King Chen's last wish that he had been obsessed with in his previous life. He once threw his head and blood to protect the ancestral realm, even to the point of dying in battle. After his death, he refused to take his body and became the source of trouble in the ancestral world. Therefore, my sincere entrustment. I will. Qing Chen spoke word by word and said, I will destroy the puppet, and I will also find the murderer, kill him. Then, he looked up at the dead old tree. He reached out, wanting to touch. Boom. The ancient trees turned into powder. No. Isn't there any chance of survival? Whoa. When the big black dog saw this scene, the dog's eyes were filled with anxiety. However, Qing Chen stretched out his hand and peeled away the dust bit by bit. Finally, he found a blackened Bodhi seed at the root of the ancient tree. Bodhisattva has completely lost its vitality and is shriveled and withered. At this moment, the oath seed in King Chen's hand suddenly flew out. The oath seed turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the black Bodhi seed. The shriveled Bodhi seed seemed to have a little more luster at this moment. I see. The big black dog opened his mouth and said, the so-called oath seed is the little bit of vitality she left behind. Even she couldn't protect the 10 spirits, 10 deities, and 10 medicines back then? There was only a glimmer of hope left. The big black dog felt heavier than ever before. Let's go. Qing Chen picked up the Bodhi seed on the ground, collected his thoughts, and spoke calmly. The two-leaf grass withered and only the stem was left, but it could be reborn. He believed that the master must have a way to save the Bodhi tree. The big black dog also nodded. No. You are exactly the same as that evil spirit. Are you possessed by an evil spirit? At this moment, Hu Juer and others on the side looked at Qing Chen as if they had seen a ghost. The wonderland of nirvana disappeared, and they were finally freed from the fire of karma. Qing Chen glanced at everyone calmly. Who asked you to come here? Hu Juer and others all looked ugly. According to what he just said about his past life obsession, the corpse of his previous life was turned into a puppet and an evil slave. Currently, the puppets and evil slaves are sealed by the people at the end of 10,000 paths. The killer still seems to be looking for his body. Therefore, Qing Chen was very vigilant. These people came to the top secret tomb of the dead. Could they be related to the murderer? Xuanhuan's face was gloomy. He seemed to feel that the people in front of him seemed to be living people and had nothing to do with evil spirits. And their realm? Not too high? It didn't even enter the realm of chaos. And he had already entered the body with chaotic spiritual energy. A bold idea flashed through his mind, and he immediately said solemnly, I am the young master of the Xianyizong, you'd better hand over that bodhisattva just now. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Qing Chen said calmly. Oh? How can you be so polite? Xian Cheng said ferociously, I'll kill you. A silver sword appeared in his hand and stabbed Qing Chen suddenly. The silver sword was filled with chaos energy, extremely sharp, cutting the air, and the cold light was overwhelming. The sword light is already approaching Qing Chen's eyes. However, at this moment, Qing Chen raised his hand casually. The next moment, the silver sword stopped abruptly. Qing Chen clamped Xuanhuan's sword with 2 fingers with great ease. Too slow. Qing Chen spoke lightly. Seeing this, Xian Cheng and others were shocked. No. He is obviously only in the divine realm, so how can he rival the chaos realm? Impossible. Is he an ancient practitioner? Everyone spoke in shock. Xuanhuan's expression changed drastically, and he tried hard to pull out the sword. However, Qing Chen moved his fingers. Suddenly, the silver sword broke directly, and the sword pieces spun and flew out. Right in the heart of Xian Cheng. Xian Cheng stared blankly at his chest, as if he couldn't believe that he died so easily. He fell straight down. No. Don't kill us. Don't want. Hu Juer and others all knelt down and begged for mercy. However, Qing Chen smiled slightly and said, Why should I kill you? That's so boring. Hearing this, everyone was overjoyed. However, Qing Chen's words have already sounded, the little monk will save you. He raised his fist and then slammed it out. The terrifying punch power made the air roar. Hu Juer and others were very frightened, but they could not resist. A group of people were directly blasted into blood mist and meat dregs. Leave no one behind. Seeing this scene, Wu Dade was startled and said, Senior brother, didn't you mean salvation? Don't you do some rituals? Qing Chen thought for a while and said, That makes sense. Thank you, junior brother, for reminding me. Then he looked at the pile of blood mist that everyone had just exploded and said, I wish everyone a happy death and an early death before rebirth. The salvation is over, let's go. Qing Chen left. Wu Dade. Senior brother Qing Chen's way of salvation is unique. Lin Zhuzhen also spoke with a complicated expression. Everyone immediately followed and left. Walking out of the tomb passage, Qing Chen walked and suddenly knocked on the door of the tomb next to him. In this tomb is a headless female ghost. What else do you want to do? Is it over yet? I'm in a hurry, I'll fight you to the death. The female ghost's angry voice sounded. Qing Chen said. Oh, I just remind you, if you don't want to be saved, don't come out again in this life. Otherwise it wouldn't be as simple as being kicked out. Understand? Behind the door of the tomb, there was a pause before the female ghost's weak voice sounded. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was you. I spoke too loudly just now. I apologize to you. I understand, I'm just playing with myself in this tomb, and I'm happy. If you don't go out, you will never go out in this life. Qing Chen nodded, then walked forward naturally and knocked on the next door. Behind him, Wu Date and Lin Zhihan were simply stunned. And at this moment, amidst the dead, a middle-aged man was leaving quickly. This person is Wu Qi. He was very fast, and before long, he had appeared outside the dead man's wasteland. What a pity, I didn't see the situation in the tomb. Maybe I missed a lot of opportunities. Wu Qi turned around and looked at dead man Huang with a sneer in his eyes. After he guided everyone to open the door, he quietly retreated in time. Because, his goal is not the tomb at all. No matter how many opportunities there are in the tomb, they can't compare to joining that organization. Wu Qi spoke, his eyes filled with anticipation. According to the information provided by that organization, there is a great evil in the tomb. Once the door of the tomb is opened, the evil might emerge, everyone who goes in should be dead. It's time for me to go. He was ready to retreat. But, at this moment, he suddenly couldn't help but look in a certain direction. I saw a middle-aged man running towards me in the forest at an unimaginable speed. Speed, that's called fast. Ao Xuanhuan. Why the hell are you not dead? Wu Qi was immediately shocked. Over there in the tomb, there won't be any changes, right? Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 744. When I walked out of the tomb door, the faint sunlight shone on my face, bringing a different kind of warmth. Wu Date closed the tomb door and said, "These ghosts should abide by their agreement, right? The evil spirits here are all very simple and have a lot of background. Moreover, he still possesses unimaginable strength. Although trapped in the tomb, there is a risk of escape. Once it appears, it will cause disaster." Hearing this, Qing Chen smiled slightly and said, "Don't worry, as long as I don't die, they won't have the courage. The evil spirits here respect me as if they were gods. Respect me as you revere God." Wu Date couldn't help but look complicated and said, "Damn it, you're just pretending." The big black dog whispered in a low voice and said, "The Nirvana Wonderland has endless magical uses. It is very mysterious and is indeed one of the evil spirit's nemesis. He has gone through the Nirvana Wonderland in his previous life. No evil spirit will open its eyes and seek death." Everyone left the island in the middle of the lake. Before leaving, the big black dog set up a formation around the lake to prevent others from sneaking in. My benefactors. At this time, Wu Xiaoqan opened his mouth and said, "I want to go back to my clan, to clean up the traitors." Wu Qi. It can be said that if Wu Qi had not betrayed the oath of the tomb keeper and leaked the situation of the tomb here, none of this would have happened. Wu Qi even used the butcher's knife on those in the lineage of tomb keepers who adhered to their oath. Now, it's time to clear the portal. Of course you should go. Qing Chen spoke calmly and said, "We'll let you go. The line of tomb keepers has guarded this place for tens of millions of years. Now that they are back, they will naturally not sit idly by." Immediately, Wu Xiaoqan led the way, and everyone headed towards the dead place. Now, beyond the dead, tell me, what happened in the tomb? How did you escape? Wu Qi stared at Ao Xuanhuan and spoke coldly. He was eager to know what was going on in the tomb, so he blocked Ao Wushuan directly. At this moment, when Ao Wushuan saw Wu Qi, he felt complicated and shocked. Damn, is there anyone in this world who can escape faster than me? Never expected that. Every time I just leave after delivering the goods, this time I was actually blocked. Moreover, feeling Wu Qi's hidden murderous intent, Ao Wushuan was extremely vigilant. No. This guy is not a good guy, otherwise. Or send him away. Ao Wushuan gritted his teeth and said. There is a great opportunity hidden in the tomb. There are magical medicines that have never been seen before, as well as unimaginable secrets. If you get any of them, you can skyrocket. When Wu Qi heard this, he doubted his belief and said. Real or fake? Ao Wushuan said, which one of us is following which one? Can I lie to you? Didn't you realize that my cultivation has gone a step further? When I passed by just now, I was the Shinto venerable. Now, I'm in a state of chaos. Wu Qi couldn't help but nod. It was indeed the case. It seems that the tomb is really a treasure. At this moment, he regretted a little. If he had known earlier, he should have followed and escaped when he had the chance. Anyway, Ao Wushuan can escape, and he believes that if he follows him, he will definitely be able to escape. Brother Wu, come on, let's go back and fight. Ao Wushuan looked enthusiastic. Wu Qi said coldly. Is there no big evil inside? Ao Wushuan looked confused and said. Big evil thing? No. Wu Qi was really tempted at this moment. However, thinking of that organization, he still shook his head. I'm not going back, you come with me. He was going to meet people from that organization. Taking the survivor Ao Wushuan there might be of some use. Ah! Ao Wushuan was immediately reluctant. This Wu Qi was not a good person. Go with him, I feel a little panicked. But, if he didn't go, I'm afraid Wu Qi would do something to him now. Ao Wushuan had no choice but to follow. The valley ahead is called Oath-Keeping Valley. Wu Xiaoqan took Qing Chen and others to a valley. In the valley is where the tomb keeper lineage lives. This place is not far from the lake. On weekdays, grave keepers will be scattered among the main roads leading to the Black Lake to prevent others from approaching. Who are you? As soon as they approached, a man wearing sackcloth appeared in the shadow somewhere. The man's head was covered by a linen cloak, and only his eyes were exposed. When he saw Wu Xiaoqan, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Wu Xiaoqan, you are actually still alive. Wu Xiaoqan gritted his teeth and said. Where is Wu Qi? Where is he? Get him out. However, the man sneered and said. Want to see Lord Wu Qi? Okay, I'll take you there. He immediately struck at Wu Xiaoqan, extremely sharply. All of them were killing moves. He struck suddenly and was caught off guard. But Wu Xiaoqan's expression remained unchanged and he punched back. Fists bumped together. The man was immediately shocked and said, you actually entered the realm of chaos, and you are so strong. Wu Xiaoqan didn't say much and attacked suddenly. The two sides fought. Eh? Why do I feel that there is a trace of senior brother Long in their fists? Lin Zhuchen was very keen, and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. Indeed, although they are not comparable, they are indeed somewhat similar. Qing Chen also nodded. They are very familiar with Long Zixuan, so they can perceive the similarity. Wuhuang realm. The big black dog spoke thoughtfully. But at this moment, 7 or 8 rounds had passed, and the middle-aged man was finally defeated and was punched away by Wu Xiaoqan. No. You. The middle-aged man's face was extremely ugly, and he was vomiting light gray blood. In the martial world, anyone who practices the 9 methods and enters the realm of chaos will have their blood gradually turn gray because they need to absorb the source of gray mist during the practice process. Wu Xiaoqan said. Tell me, where is Wu Qi? The middle-aged man said with a ferocious smile. I won't tell you, Wu Xiaocan, just wait to die. Wu Xiaocan frowned. At this time, Qing Chen suddenly patted his shoulder and said, Do you know what to do when you encounter such a person? Wu Xiaocan was puzzled. And Qing Chen had already slapped him directly. Boom. There are no middle-aged scum left. Qing Chen smiled and said, Transcend them. Wu Xiaocan. Xiao Kun has learned a lesson. Immediately, they moved on. On the way into the valley, we encountered some hidden sentries. His cultivation level is almost all in the realm of chaos spiritual qi. Under King Chen's guidance, Wu Xiaocan became fierce in killing and no longer gentle. Finally, they entered the valley. The valley is full of various buildings, and on an open space in the center, the tomb guards have gathered. Hundreds of people were tied to the stone pillars. There are more than 100 gray-robed men standing on both sides with stern expressions. We are doing this for the good of the tomb keeper family. At this moment, among more than 100 gray-robed men, a middle-aged man stood up, with a majestic look on his face, and said, The gravekeeper has been guarding the tomb for endless years, and what has he gained? Generations of people have been clinging to the mountains and forests for an illusory oath. Is it worth it? It is only right to open the tomb and gain the opportunity to let our clan embark on the path of supreme glory. Master Wu Qi gives you a chance out of the love of the clan. Take an oath now and surrender to Master Wu Qi, and you can survive. His gaze swept across the faces of the tied people. More than 100 people in grey robes were the ones following Wu Qi. Wu Erbai, Wu Shibai, you two traitors. Among the people who were tied up, an old man suddenly spoke. There was blood in his mouth, but at this moment, his eyes were staring at the two middle-aged men and yelling angrily. You are acting as a coward, following that beast Wu Qi, poisoning and murdering your tribe, you deserve to die. However, the middle-aged man who just spoke stood up with a sneer and said, Wu Song, let me advise you. He who knows the current affairs is a hero. Lord Wu Qi has already taken people to the tomb. It won't be long before he returns with an opportunity. Now, if you make an oath and completely surrender to Lord Wu Qi, your life will be saved, otherwise, you will only die later. He threatened. But the old man Wu Song laughed wildly and said, Ha ha, ridiculous. I, Wu Song, can only die standing up, how can I live on my knees? If you want to kill me, why bother waiting for that beast Wu Qi to come back? Come on, you two brothers, if you can, kill me. As he spoke, he suddenly spat at Wu Erbai. Upon seeing this, Wu Erbai's face suddenly darkened. Next to him, another middle-aged man also stepped forward and said, Brother, I think, this old man needs to be operated on. Until he dies, others will not surrender. Hearing this, Wu Erbai nodded. He stepped forward with a cold face and took out an extremely sharp dagger. I will let you slowly feel Lingqi's pain. Wu Erbai sneered and stabbed Wu Song with the sharp knife. Wu Song's face was still full of contempt and disdain, and he was happy and unafraid. However, at this moment, an angry shout suddenly came. Stop! This voice sounded, and everyone in the venue looked shocked. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 745. Wu Erbai was about to take action against Wu Song when a voice came. Stop! This voice shocked everyone present. They all turned to look. I saw several young people and a big black dog walking towards the valley. One of them is surprisingly Wu Xiaocan. Wu Xiaocan, he is actually still alive. Didn't we already send people to hunt him down? Who are these people? Many grey-robed men spoke one after another. But Wu Song and other members of the tribe who were tied up were all surprised. Xiao Kun is still alive. Very good. No, if he comes now, he will throw himself into a trap. In addition to being pleasantly surprised, everyone was also filled with worry. Wu Songlao's eyes were even more anxious, and he said, "Xiao Kun, leave quickly and leave us alone. Wait for your father to return." Wu Xiaokan was lucky enough to survive, which was beyond their expectations. However, now that he was back, all his previous efforts were in vain. However, Wu Xiaokan shook his head and said, "Grandpa Wu Song, you don't have to worry about me." He looked at Wu Erbai and said, "Kneel down and confess your sins now, maybe I can still keep you alive." Hearing this, Wu Erbai was startled for a moment, but then he burst into laughter. It was as if he was laughing at something ridiculous. "Wu Xiaokan, are you crazy? Do you consider yourself a master?" He sneered and said, "I was still worried at first, but now you are bringing yourself to death, you can't blame me. Take it." Suddenly, a dozen men in grey robes rushed towards Wu Xiaokan and others. Wu Xiaokan rushed forward and started fighting with more than a dozen people. Those dozen people were all in the realm of chaos. Wu Xiaokan was one against many, but like a tiger among sheep, he managed to survive. In the blink of an eye, several of the dozen or so people were knocked down by him. The realm of chaos. Wu Erbai's face darkened and he said, "With just this little bit of cultivation, you can't make a world of difference. Altogether, take it down." He waved his hand. Suddenly, hundreds of grey-robed men surrounded and killed him. "It's been a long time since I had a good fight." But at this moment, Qing Chen and others behind Wu Xiaokan all smiled slightly. They also took action directly and entered the battle group. Court death. Kill them. Superior. People flocked to it. Donors, why are you so anxious to seek salvation? Qing Chen smiled, punched one after another, and the oncoming enemies turned into a pile of dregs. Tickling your fat man. Wu Dade, on the other hand, walked majestically through the crowd, punching, kicking, and even using the blades of the enemies who came at him, but they couldn't hurt him at all. Lin Zhuzhen was even more unfathomable. Every time he took a step, the earth energy turned into a divine rainbow in the surrounding earth, and corpses were scattered wherever he passed. No one can come close to him. This is simply a massacre. No. How is this possible? Wu Erbai's expression changed drastically. Where did Wu Xiaokan attract such strong support? Practitioners of ancient Dharma, they are practitioners of ancient Dharma. Wu Shibai spoke solemnly and said, "Could they be from the Mo family?" The Mo family is a family that practices ancient Dharma. The daughter of the Mo family is even engaged to Wu Xiaokan, but, as far as I know, the Mo family has always been dissatisfied with this marriage. How could this happen? Send experts to help him. He thought for a moment and said, "No matter what, kill these people." Wu Erbai also nodded. He turned around quietly and headed towards Qing Chen. Although Wu Xiaokan was fierce, he was not important. What was important were these three ancient practitioners. When he approached quietly, Wu Shibai also took out a crossbow suddenly. The crossbow body is made of cold iron, shining with cold light. At this moment, Qing Chen punched one by one and saved dozens of people in the blink of an eye. Although he is only a perfected divine way, these cultivators in the realm of chaos are vulnerable to them. Without him, the strongest thing for ancient practitioners is their foundation. If they are fully cultivated by immortals, saints, and gods, they can be called the supreme physique. Go to hell. Wu Erbai approached and slashed out with his sword. His cultivation level is higher than others, reaching the second realm of chaos, the spiritual spring realm. The powerful power of chaos is attached to the sharp long knife. Qing Chen glanced lightly, but did not force the attack. His footsteps suddenly moved, like a ghost, and he dodged from under his blade. However, at this moment, the crossbow arrow that had been waiting for him on the other side suddenly exploded, a cold light flashed past, and in the blink of an eye, it was already behind Qingchen's head. The dust seems to be unavoidable. However, at this moment, a long sword suddenly shot out from nowhere. When there was a sound of metal collision, and the crossbow arrow and sword landed at the same time. Qingchen turned around and looked somewhere, only to see a woman in green clothes appearing. This woman is clearly Xianqing Ai. Thank you, girl. Qingchen smiled slightly. In fact, although the crossbow arrow just fired was dangerous, it could not hurt him. He could even get the crossbow closer and then reach out to catch it. After all, chasing spiders and catching ants in the courtyard had already trained his hands to be extremely fast, and his skills could be described as superb. However, the people who came to the rescue had good intentions after all. Xianqing Ai shook his head and said, "You are welcome. I saved you just to show my talent. Among ancient practitioners, it is extremely rare to have your level of strength. You can be called a genius. Are you willing to follow me to Xianyi sect? In Xianyizong, you will get the best resources, and you will even have the opportunity to obtain the Four Realms Dharma." Hearing this, Qingchen smiled in surprise. This girl is somewhat interesting. His smile made Xianqing Ai feel that this guy seemed a little disapproving. She continued, "I know that you come from ancient Dharma cultivation forces and you also have many inheritances, but in the post-White Mist era, the 9 Dharma is respected. There is no pure source of white mist in the world. Your ancient methods can no longer be used. You must obtain the 9 methods before you can continue to practice. I solemnly invite you all to go to Xianyizong. At that time, I will ask the master to let you directly become inner disciples." Xianqing Ai promised directly. In her opinion, these people in front of her are all real geniuses. It would be a pity if we don't recruit people from the door. "Thank you for your kindness, but no need, I already have a teacher." Qingchen smiled and said nothing more. Xianqing Ai frowned slightly. But Wu Shibai and Wu Erbai were staring at Xianqing Ai at this moment. "People from Xianyizong," Wu Shibai said in a deep voice. "We, Master Wu Qi, cooperated with your sect and visited the tomb together. Why is the girl becoming our enemy?" Xianqing Ai turned around, looked at them, and said, "Cooperate with our sect. It seems that Wu Qi not only used our Xianyi sect, he also used your so-called tribesman. He is a person." She followed Ao Wushuan to escape, but after leaving the Black Lake, she found that she couldn't catch up with Ao Wushuan. The other party is really too fast. As a last resort, she had to give up. At the same time, she turned around and started investigating Wu Qi. Because of this person, the city is too deep. This time, Xianyizong and the major tomb robber families, it can be said that they are all plotted by the other party. Therefore, she sneaked into the oath-keeping valley and waited in secret. It was only then that he saw that Qingchen was about to be plotted, so he came to the rescue. "What? Master Wu Qi is using us? What are you talking about?" Wu Erbai drank coldly. Xianqing Ai said lightly, "You still don't understand. Wu Qi tricked our sect into entering the tomb, but he has already escaped. He doesn't seem to care about you." Hearing this, Wu Shibai and others were startled. "Master Wu Qi escaped? Impossible, Master Wu Qi has clearly said that he will lead us onto the bright road. Master Wu Qi is the future of the Tomb Keeper lineage, how could he escape? No one can accept it? I have a suggestion." At this time, Qingchen smiled and said, "Why don't you go somewhere and wait for him? He will come to you sooner or later." Wu Erbai asked, "Where?" "Heaven." After Qingchen finished speaking, he had already taken action. The battle begins again. Shortly after, more than 100 traders, including Wu Erbai and others, were all dead or injured. Grandpa Wusong. Wu Xiaoqan hurriedly stepped forward to untie Wusong and other clan members. "Are you okay, Grandpa Wusong?" he asked with concern. Wusong had a very high status among the tomb keepers and was once his father's leader. Wusong coughed up a mouthful of blood and said, "I'm fine." "Xiaoqan, they are." Wusong looked at Qing Chen and others in confusion. "Grandpa, they are the people our ancestors have been waiting for." Wu Xiaoqan briefly explained what happened before and after. Hearing this, Wusong was shocked. He looked at Qing Chen and bowed deeply. "My clan has been waiting for endless years, and finally we have waited for the person who promised to take the oath. Great. From now on, you are the master of the tomb guards. Meet the master." Seeing this, everyone else also bowed down. When Qing Chen saw this, he stepped forward and said, "Why are you doing this, old man? Please get up quickly." However, Wusong shook his head and said, "Please agree to let the tomb keeper family follow you. Eons ago, a great disaster struck, and the common people were in trouble. The tomb keepers were just the remaining sparks under your protection. We are only willing to follow you." He was determined to the extreme. Wusong has a high status in the clan and is the oldest, so he knows many ancient ancestral teachings and legends. The oath race is not just a witness to the oath taken by their clan. Moreover, it has something to do with the strongest men who protected the ancestral realm eons ago. Only when those people return, will the oath species feel something. Even though Qing Chen was so young at this moment, and his cultivation was far from the legendary strong men who shook the world, he understood that the oath would never be wrong. This is related to the mighty man who once sacrificed for the ancestral world. The tomb keepers are the descendants of the survivors of the former Beiwu era. As the ancestral precepts say, whenever a person who answers the oath appears, the tomb keeper should follow him and encourage him. The ancestral precepts cannot be violated. When Qing Chen heard the words, he felt something in his heart. The light and shadow of the pre-white fog era have long since withered and disappeared in the long river of time. In the post-white mist era, there are still descendants of the ancient survivors waiting for them. They are sparks that will never be extinguished. Good. Qing Chen couldn't help but nodded and said, "From today onwards, the tomb keeper can follow me and fight against the heavens again." He didn't refuse again. Hearing this, everyone was very happy. "Meet the master! Meet the master! Meet the master!" All the tomb keepers shouted in unison. Next to him, Xian King Ai looked at the scene with extremely shocked eyes. The lineage of tomb keepers actually worships a monk as their leader? What is the origin of this monk? "Master, now, what should we do?" Wusong asked. Qing Chen said, "From today on, you no longer need to guard the tomb. The tomb keeper lineage can be renamed the Oath Keeper. All you have to do is practice with peace of mind and wait for the opportunity to fight. Practice with peace of mind and wait for the opportunity." Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but nod. Big Black. Qing Chen turned his head, looked at the big black dog, and said, "Do you know the so-called 9 laws? Among the lineage of tomb keepers, after eternity has passed, only the 3 realms of law are left. The 4 realm laws are in the hands of the main sect of the southern region of Wuhuang realm." Qing Chen wanted to give them some resources so that the Oath Keepers could grow faster. The big black dog shook its head and said, "The 9 techniques were created by the one from the end of 10,000 paths, and I don't know that either. However, you may be able to give them another way to practice. This cultivation method should be comparable to the 9 methods." Hearing this, Qing Chen couldn't help but curiously said, "What method?" The big black dog said, "Wow, have you forgotten that the master taught you broadcast gymnastics? One set in the morning and evening, No matter how much gray mist source is absorbed, it can be refined. Hearing this, Qing Chen instantly woke up. It turns out, the radio gymnastics technique that Master usually takes them to practice has such a wonderful effect. Master, it turns out that everything has been prepared a long time ago. He couldn't help but sigh, the Master is really amazing. As early as in the underworld, he had already expected that such a day would come, so he taught him and others radio gymnastics. Just watch out, I'll teach you a skill. This technique is comparable to the 9 techniques. Qing Chen immediately looked at Wu Song and others and said. Hearing this, Wu Song and others were shocked. A technique comparable to the 9 techniques? You need to know that the 9 laws were created by the one who suppressed the catastrophe in the pre-White Mist era and opened the post-White Mist era. Now, it has become a top secret in the world and extremely precious. However, at this moment, the Master actually wants to pass down a comparable method. Everyone was excited. Immediately, Qing Chen raised his hand and made the first move. That's a warm-up. At this moment, everyone felt that the original energy between heaven and earth was surging crazily towards Qing Chen. He is like a bottomless pit. When Xian King Ai saw this scene, her beautiful eyes shrank, and her face was filled with shock. This. What kind of method is this? Unheard, unseen. Not any of the 9 laws at all. But, it is not weaker than Zhigfa. She suddenly understood why Qing Chen refused her kindness just now. In other people's hands, there is a legacy. It turns out, the clown is actually himself. She felt a little hurt. But then, she turned around quickly. This kind of method is absolutely extremely rare. If you were to spy on it randomly, you would probably end up dead. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 746. Qing Chen directly demonstrates the warm-up exercises one by one. What he demonstrated was the preparatory exercise for the great gymnastics technique Dancing Youth, which consisted of only 9 movements, concise and to the point. Every movement attracts endless chaos, and the origin of white mist and gray mist gather together. God, what kind of method is this? The supreme law of the pre-white mist era. It's too scary, too profound. One movement contains endless charm, as if it reaches the sky and the earth, making it difficult to spy. The Oath Keepers were all shocked. This is the supreme law. The Master has given our family an unimaginable inheritance. Wu Song's old eyes were filled with excitement. He could feel that this great technique was simply invincible. He has the highest level of cultivation among the Oath Keepers. He has already completed the 3 realms, but he still feels that the movements shown by Qing Chen are difficult to understand. I am afraid it will take millions of exercises to truly master them. Soon, all the preparatory exercises were completed. While doing gymnastics, the white mist and gray mist source energy from the surrounding heaven and earth continued to surge in, and was absorbed into his body. After finishing this section, he felt that the source of the gray mist had been refined, and some extremely negative factors had been expelled from the body. He couldn't help but nodded. The big black dog was right. The gymnastics passed down by the Master were indeed suitable for practice in the post-white fog era and could suppress the negative effects of the gray fog. This technique is not easy to learn, so I will teach you this section first. Qing Chen opened his mouth. 9 sets of broadcast gymnastics, all very difficult. Even in the small courtyard, Yun 11 is the only one who has learned everything now, and none of the other disciples have learned it fully. Therefore, it should be enough to teach the Oath Keepers preparatory exercises first. After they learn it, teach new ones. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. All the Oath Keepers spoke excitedly. They all had a hunch that this technique would become the foundation of their prosperity. It's time for us to go back. Qing Chen then spoke and said. Xiaokun knows the place where we practice. If you need it, you can go to me. Hearing this, everyone nodded and sent Qing Chen off respectfully. Which force do you come from? When they walked out of the oath-keeping valley, they saw Xian King Ai guarding the entrance of the valley with a solemn expression. Just now, she was afraid of causing misunderstanding, so she left the oath-keeping valley directly to avoid peeking into King Chen's evolution. However, she was really too curious, so she waited here. After all, there are many ancient magic cultivation forces in the Wuhuang realm, but I have never heard of any ancient magic power that has a method that can be practiced in the realm of chaos. The world has changed. There is no pure white mist in the world. The ancient methods are okay for practicing Shinto, but are useless in the realm of chaos. But these people's methods, she felt that they were no weaker than the 9 methods. It can absorb the source of gray mist without restraint. Us? We're just from a remote mountain village. Qing Chen smiled slightly. When Xian King Ai heard this, he didn't believe it at all. Some remote mountain village must be a hidden power. It's okay not to say anything. She opened her mouth and said. You are born, but are you here for the martial arts gold list? Martial arts gold list? Lin Zhuchen and others were confused and asked, what is the martial arts gold list? Xian King Ai was stunned for a moment. These people don't even know about the martial arts gold list? It seems, these people are really isolated from the world. The golden list of martial arts is said to come from the pre-white mist era. On the gold list, there is the inheritance of a certain earth-shattering figure from the pre-white mist era. Every 100 years, the martial arts gold list will appear once. Only the strongest warriors can get close to the martial arts gold list and obtain its inheritance. Since ancient times, anyone who has received inheritance from the martial arts gold list has become a giant and established a section. She told the relevant information about the martial arts gold list. Every 100 years, martial arts gold lists will appear in the 5 regions of the Martial Wasteland, Northern Territory, Middle Earth, Southern Territory, Eastern Wasteland, and Western Desert. This is called the 5 golden lists. Geniuses everywhere will break their heads for it. The strongest person can obtain the inheritance. And if someone with unparalleled talent appears, they may even surpass the limits of the 5 major gold lists and attract the most mysterious martial arts list. The Martial Master list has only appeared twice since the post-White Mist era. Anyone who has inherited the 5 great golden lists can be said to be of supreme status, and if they can get the favor of the Martial Lord list, they can reach the heavens. In the course of time, the 2 people favored by Wu Zunbang have become mythical and legendary figures, famous in all regions. And now the centenary period has arrived. The martial arts gold list is about to appear. The competition for the golden list of enlightenment is extremely fierce, and people over 300 years old cannot obtain the inheritance. All the geniuses in the world will participate in the competition. Xian King Ai spoke. She looked at Qing Chen and others and said, I admit that your Shinto cultivation is extremely solid, but if you want to compete for the top 5 gold medals, you are still too weak. You can be considered a genius only if you are at least in the 2nd realm of chaos and above within 300 years of age. If you are willing to enter Xianyi sect, you will improve faster. Until now, she still has not given up her last glimmer of hope. These people are really strong. If he can be recruited into the sect, he will definitely open up a new future for Xianyizong. Qing Chen and others smiled after hearing this. We have no interest in the so-called martial arts gold list. Thank you for your kindness, girl. Goodbye. Qing Chen spoke calmly, and after speaking, they turned and left. Seeing this, Xian King Ai couldn't help but be startled. There are people in this world who are not interested in the martial arts gold list. That can be said to be the supreme inheritance. She felt that all her enthusiasm was, all in vain. It was like a fist punching the air. That's it, These people have been hiding from the world for a long time and can't keep up with the times. She couldn't help but shake her head, turned and left. Now, it's time to return to the sect. After a day and a night, Xian King Ai walked out of the desert of the dead and arrived at Baihuang City, a small border town in the far north. In Baihuang City, the city lord's mansion is in charge of everything, including a teleportation array. The Wuhuang realm is too big, and the suppression of heaven and earth is extremely severe. Only when you reach the realm of the three realms of chaos, the spirit rainbow realm, can you control the air for a short period of time. Only by becoming a master in the fourth realm can one truly fly freely, but one cannot travel long distances. Traffic mainly relies on the teleportation array. After paying the Chaos Origin Stone at the Baihuang City Lord's Mansion, she entered the teleportation array. Stars move and space changes. Not long after, she walked out of the teleportation array and appeared in Xian City. The Wuhuang realm is vast, and the northern border alone is divided into 4 continents and a holy city. The 4 continents are Baixuan Continent, Nanzan Continent, Dongling Continent, and Zishan Continent. Each continent has a vast territory and is divided into hundreds of countries, large and small. There are even extremely powerful dynasties that command tens of millions of people. Territory. The holy city in the north is Baizun City. Baizun City is located in the middle of the northern border, bordering the 4 continents. Sichuan City is one of the 4 major cities in the northern part of Baichuanzhou and belongs to the Su Kingdom. As one of the 4 major forces in Su State, Xianyizong has a respected status and has influence in Xian City. Xian King Ai quickly found the entrance of Xianyi sect in Xian City, passed through the teleportation array again, and arrived at Xuanyi Mountain where the sect was located. Xuanyi Mountain is full of aura, with its peaks and mountains, and magnificent buildings rising one after another among the green mountains and fields. Xian King Ai is back and asks to enter the mountain. At the mountain gate, she spoke. And at this moment, in the back mountain of Xianyizong, in a secret place, the fog is thick and the mountains are undulating. I saw 2 middle-aged men falling here. Wu Qi pays homage to your lord. These 2 people were clearly Wu Qi and Ao Wushuan. At this moment, Wu Qi spoke solemnly to the depths of the grey mist and knelt down at the same time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 747. The back mountain of Xianyizong is a hidden place. Wu Qi's voice fell for a long time. Deep in the grey mist, a faint voice sounded, saying, "Is the matter done?" The voice was hoarse and low. Wu Qi nodded and said, "Lord Qi, according to your instructions, I have taken people from Xianyizong, Wu family, and other forces to the tomb, and instructed them to open the door." His face was extremely worried and he said, "Is this villain considered to have passed your test?" The being in the grey mist remained silent, but continued, "Who is the person who came with you?" Wu Qi said, "Master Qi, this person's name is Ao Wushuan. He was originally brought by Guangdu sect to destroy evil spirits, but after he entered the tomb, he actually escaped again, which puzzled me, so I took him with me. Come on." After he finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared in the grey fog. This is a man in black robes, his whole body is hidden in a black cloak, only 2 sharp eyes are exposed. The man in black robe stared at Ao Wushuan and said in a deep voice, "You entered the tomb." The look in the black robe made Ao Wushuan tremble in his heart. The visitor is not good. I'm afraid I've met a bad person. He said anxiously. Yes, I followed everyone and walked for a while, but, before I reached the deepest point, something didn't feel right, so I ran away. He tells the truth. What did you see in the tomb? The man in black robe spoke coldly, and an inexplicable pressure suddenly fell on Xuanhuan. This is a kind of oppression. Under this kind of oppression, ordinary people can only tell the truth and their minds will collapse. But Xuanhuan immediately calmed down. After all, I have experienced this kind of scene too much, I am immune. Xuanhuan already had a decision in his heart with just one thought. You must not tell the truth. If you let this guy know that there is a black tower in his body that can absorb the bones of evil spirits, I am afraid that he will be in trouble. Immediately, Xuanhuan turned pale, was sweating, and his whole body was trembling, as if he could not withstand the pressure of the man in black robes. In the tombs, there are evil spirits, the evil spirits are very scary. His words were intermittent, his breathing was heavy, and he said with difficulty. The evil stars found by the three major tomb robber families, can communicate with evil spirits, but the further you go, the more terrifying the evil spirits become. I was scared, so, I ran away first. I don't know what's in it. After saying that, his body went limp and fell to the ground, almost frothing at the mouth. Seeing this, the man in black robe was confused and murmured. To be able to escape from those evil tombs, it's strange. Does this person have extraordinary luck? He did not doubt what Xuanhuan said. After all, under his pressure, a mere cultivator in the realm of chaos has no room to lie. He put away his pressure. Xuanhuan felt the pressure dissipate, and felt relieved. Damn, the acting was so tiring. Damn it, Xuanhuan, you beast, you actually lied to me, do you want to harm me? Wu Qi suddenly became angry. He stared at Xuanhuan, his teeth itching with hatred. What did Xuanhuan say before? There are great opportunities in the tomb. He believed it at first and almost went back. If he hadn't been in a hurry to come back to see the adults, he might have been tricked by Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan said. I am also trying to protect myself. Wu Qi said. I'm not done with you. There is hatred in his heart. As a traitor who guards the tomb, he has always been the only one who plots against others. How has he ever been plotted against? All right. At this time, the man in black robe spoke calmly and said. Xuanhuan, right. Being able to walk out of that evil tomb shows that you are very lucky. Are you willing to join our organization? Hearing this, Wu Qi's eyes immediately went straight. What? This Xuanhuan can actually join the organization? He looked at Xuanhuan, and his eyes were filled with jealousy. Grass. He has gone through life and death and sold all his clan members, but this may not be approved by adults. Why does Xuanhuan? Just because he runs fast? He couldn't figure it out. Xuanhuan was also startled. What the hell, let yourself join the organization. He couldn't help feeling guilty and said. Sir, I would like to take the liberty to ask, what kind of organization are we? Hearing this, Wu Qi wanted to vomit blood. This guy Xuanhuan didn't even know what kind of organization this was, but he could enter it? Is this guy so lucky? The man in black robe smiled slightly and said. You can call us, visitors. Visitor. Xuanhuan was confused and continued. What do we mainly do? The man in black robe said. The visitor, as the name suggests. We go where the world doesn't dare to go. We mess with things that the world doesn't dare to mess with. We will take the treasures that the world dare not take. There was an unparalleled superiority in his words. Next to him, Wu Qi's blood was boiling. He has longed for the visitor, for a long time. This organization is very mysterious. Unless they show up on their own initiative, it will be difficult for the world to get in touch with them. Moreover, the forbidden visitors are extremely powerful and often walk among various Jedi. Once you become one of them, you can get countless resources. But Xuanhuan thought for a moment and said, why do I feel, the name visitor is not suitable for us? Should we call, the dead? He muttered. Hearing this, Wu Qi's blood pressure soared. The man in black robe was also startled for a moment, but then smiled. Yes, we are walking on the edge of death. So, good luck is always the most important thing. This is indeed the reason why he values Xuanhuan. According to the organization's estimation, the evil tomb this time is most likely related to the legendary corpse suppression land. Even if it is not a real corpse suppression land, it is still extremely dangerous. They don't even dare to touch it themselves. Therefore, they chose the safest way. Let others open it. Only then did Wu Qi, the chess piece, be chosen, and behind the scenes, Xian Yizong and others were manipulated. However, he did not expect that there would be an anomaly like Xuanhuan, who could still survive after entering the tomb. So rare. There are great benefits to absorbing this kind of talent into the organization. When Xuanhuan heard that he was walking on the edge of death, he immediately became frightened. He doesn't want to commit suicide. Can I say no? He asked weakly. When the man in black robe heard this, he was even more satisfied. Tisk, yes, this guy actually wants to refuse. It shows that Xuanhuan is innocent and is not the kind of person who wants to get into the organization with ulterior motives. No more inspections. Good. No, you have to join. Refuse, die. He was categorical. Xuanhuan suddenly fainted. Wu Qi also looked at the man in black robe and said, Sir, then, what about me? Can I join the organization? He looked expectant. The man in black robe said calmly. Wait. If this tomb is what the organization is looking for, you can consider it as completing your mission and you will naturally be able to enter it. If not, I'm afraid you have to complete the mission again. This is the rule. When Wu Qi heard this, his heart suddenly became unbalanced. Damn it, rules. Why didn't you tell Xuanhuan the rules? Grass, double standard dog. However, he did not dare to say it, so he could only say. Sir, how do you know if the tomb this time is what the organization is looking for? The man in black robe put his hands behind his hands, raised his eyes, and said calmly. If it is really the corpse place that the organization is looking for, once it is opened. Haha, it's time for the evil corpse to be born. By then, the entire Wuhuang world will be destroyed. We can prepare to escape from Wuhuang realm. Hearing this, Wu Qi couldn't help being dumbfounded. Evil corpse? Is it so scary? Such a terrifying thing, why did the Prowler release it? He had doubts and didn't dare to ask. But Xuanhuan couldn't help but lament, damn, he was indeed a suicide. This is making yourself uncomfortable. However, he was not that worried. Even if there really are evil corpses deep in the tomb, it shouldn't be a big problem. After all, if an evil corpse encounters that evil mountain village, it's likely that he won't be able to become a demon. Mr. Qi Zhen. But at this moment, a voice suddenly came from outside the secret place. Xian King II is back from the tomb. The tomb has been opened, but my son and the others are all dead. In the secret place, a look of surprise suddenly flashed in the eyes of the man in black robe, and he said, What? Someone else is coming back. What's going on? The figure of the man in black robe has appeared at the edge of the secret place. I saw a middle-aged man outside the secret place. This middle-aged man had a sinister temperament and said, Xian King II has just entered the mountain gate. At this moment, my father is interrogating her in the sect hall with many elders. I went to pet the cat today. It took a long time. I bought a cat and brought it back to raise after the National Day. Happy. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 748. In the main hall of Xianyizang. Xian King Ai, tell me, what happened? Why is my grandson, the soul lamp, extinguished? An old man spoke angrily. He is Xuanhuan's grandfather and the great elder of Xianyizang, Xian Kaiyulan. All the elders in the sect have also arrived. Xian Tiankai, the leader of Xuanyi sect, is sitting in the hall with a cold expression. Xian Cheng has been taken advantage of. Xian King Ai opened his mouth and said. He went with Wu Qi, a traitor from the Tomb Keeper clan, and entered the tomb, but the tomb was simply a deserted place. There is no such thing as chance, there are just terrifying evil spirits. If my guess is correct, Xian Cheng, as well as people from the Wu family, and other forces, should all be dead. All dead. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the hall was shocked. There are evil spirits in the tomb. No chance. Impossible. Everyone was talking about it. Xian Kaiyulan's eyes were even colder and he said. Really? Then why were you able to escape? Why didn't you die? Xian King Ai said. I saw something was wrong, so I withdrew first. She didn't say anything about Ao Wushuan. Because she felt that there must be unimaginable secrets in Ao Wushuan. If Xianyizang knew about it, Ao Wushuan might be hunted down. She didn't want to implicate the innocent. Hearing this, Xian Kaiyulan laughed angrily and said. You saw an opportunity and retreated first. Facing the tomb of evil spirits, how could you actually walk away so easily? Besides, as a fellow sect member, why didn't you save my grandson when you saw him in danger? You have violated the sect rules by refusing to save me. He is aggressive. But at this moment, another elder stood up and said coldly. Brother Kaiyulan, what do you mean? Should Qingyi die with him? This elder, named Xianzhong, is Xian King Ai's master. I have reason to doubt it. Xian Kaiyulan's face was cold and he said. This action has nothing to do with Xian King Ai, what is she going to do? Moreover, as soon as she left, my grandson died, and she was the only one left to return. I want to find out what happened. Search for souls. Search for souls. Xuanzang's expression changed and he said angrily. Xian Kaiyulan, you passed. The reason why Qingyi went there was because of my instruction. Why do you want to search for my apprentice's soul? Xian Kaiyulan said coldly. So it was your order? So, you are also responsible for my grandson's death. Xianzhong said in a deep voice. The reason why I asked Qingyi to follow me is because, I don't trust the person in the secret place in the back mountain. He turned his head and looked at the leader Xian Tiankai. Sect Master, the origin of the man in the back mountain is unknown. Our Xuanyi sect cannot believe everything he says. Xianzhong was suspicious, so, he sent Qingyi to follow him to investigate. He showed his feelings. A month ago, a man in black robe appeared in Xianyizang. The man in black robe has strong cultivation and is very mysterious. Moreover, according to him, he knows a large tomb that contains life-saving medicine and a supreme opportunity. This is the reason why Xianyi sect sent people to the dead man's wasteland. However, Xianzhong has always been on guard. Therefore, disciples were sent. The people who went there now, are all dead, which is enough to prove that the tomb is not a place of chance at all, and that man in black robe, can't be trusted. We should take action immediately, this man is a disaster. He speaks from his heart. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a hoarse and low voice sounded outside the palace door. Do it? Ha ha. Everyone turned around suddenly. I saw a man in black robe walking up to the main hall. Mr. Kuro. Xian Kaiyulan immediately bowed respectfully. Even the sect leader Xian Tiankai stood up and bowed slightly. They all respect this man in black robe, very much. Hero, who are you? As for Xuanhuan, his eyes were filled with doubts as he asked. What is your purpose in coming to our Xianyizang? However, Hai Luo just raised his hand. Xianzhong's expression suddenly changed and he spat out a mouthful of grey blood. You dare to question it in front of me? Hai Luo spoke coldly, and he turned to look at Xian King Ai. Little girl, I am very curious about how you escaped. As he said that, his eyes immediately focused on Xian King Ai. Xian King Ai was stunned for a moment. She felt like she couldn't help it, and her mind went blank. As if her soul had been stolen, she subconsciously said. It's too dangerous in the big tomb. I escaped with Ao Wushuan. After I left, I went to the Tomb Keeper clan and met 3 ancient practitioners. They were very strong and belonged to the Tomb Keeper clan. I recognized them as my master. Hearing this, the expressions of everyone in the venue changed. The man in black robe was also a little surprised and murmured. Wrong. The tomb was opened, and there was no movement at all among the dead. He felt strange. Even though the tomb was not the burial place they were looking for, there were still terrifying evil spirits in it. Once evil spirits are born, the dead will be the first to bear the brunt, and all living creatures among them will be destroyed. However, after Xian King Ai left the tomb, he actually went to the lineage of the tomb keepers. It also took him a day and a night to leave the wasteland of the dead. In the meantime, everything is safe? Could it be that none of the evil spirits in the tomb came out? It's strange. No. Could it be because of those 3 ancient practitioners? Did they suppress the evil spirits in the tomb? Hai Luo thought, continued to press, and said. What happened to those 3 ancient practitioners? Xian King Ai's brows furrowed tightly, seemingly full of pain, and said. They master the art that is not weaker than the 9 arts. Puff. She vomited blood directly. When everyone heard this, their expressions changed. Ancient Dharma practitioners. Mastering no less than 9 arts? How can this be? Ancient Dharma practitioners have some mastery of Dharma from the pre-White Mist era. However, apart from being useful in the realm of Shinto, those techniques are completely useless in the realm of chaos. The world has changed, and the 9 Dharmas are the foundation. However, now there are actually people who master a method that is not weaker than the 9 methods. If this is true, the entire Wuhuang realm, and even the entire Chaos Ancestral realm, will be turned upside down. However, Hai Luo's heart sank. He realized, what Xian King Ai said was very likely. It is true. Because Xian King Ai's behavior was obviously because what she said involved some kind of secret or even taboo. It will backfire. What kind of person and what kind of secret would have such a taboo? He doesn't know. Could it be that there is really a method other than the 9 methods in this world? He suddenly thought that these ancient practitioners might be the reason why the dead man's desert was still peaceful. After all, even if the tomb this time is not a place to suppress corpses, even if there are not evil corpses in it, evil spirits should still be born and cause a huge disaster. These ancient practitioners are weird. With such ability, could it be that the organization that is hostile to the visitors is here? That organization is also composed of some ancient practitioners. No, we have to find out. Die. At this moment, Xianzhong beside him suddenly shouted loudly. His eyes were scarlet, and the energy of chaos surged wildly. He grabbed Xian King Ai, threw Xian King Ai out of the hall, and then blocked the door of the hall with one step. His aura was extremely chaotic. He is already on the verge of self-destruction. Qing Yi, run away! He shouted. Xian King Ai fell outside the palace door, and her consciousness suddenly returned. She looked into the hall, she was extremely anxious and said. Master! Xianzhong roared angrily. Go quickly! Leave Xuanhuan and never come back again. Xian King Ai's heart felt like a knife piercing her heart, and at this moment, tears welled up in her eyes. She understood that Master was risking his life to give her a chance to escape. No. We can't let Master die in vain. She gritted her teeth and turned around, running away without stopping. And in the main hall. Xuanhuan, you are so brave, are you going to rebel? Xian Kaiyulan roared. Xian Tiankai also said coldly. It seems that your master and disciple are going to betray the sect. Xuanhuan smiled miserably and said. What if such a section rebels? The man in black robe suddenly said calmly. Do you think you can stop me? You want to blow yourself up, do I agree? As soon as he raised his hand, grey mist surged. Suddenly, Xuanzang's face turned pale and his whole body froze. He found that he couldn't move anymore. Take it! Xian Tiankai immediately shouted angrily. Several elders immediately stepped forward and restrained Xuanhuan. Sect Master, Xuanhuan betrayed the sect and deserves to be killed. Xian Kaiyulan suggested. Hearing this, Xian Tiankai looked at the man in black robe and said, Sir, what do you think? The man in black robe smiled and said. Keep it for now. As long as he is alive, that girl doll will eventually come back. Xian Tiankai said. Don't worry, sir, we will send someone to chase you right now. The man in black robe shook his head and said. No. She doesn't matter anymore. The important thing is, the ancient practitioners in the dead man's desert. There is definitely no method in this world that can compete with the 9 methods. After all, the founder of the 9 methods is so amazing that he is invincible throughout the ages. There is no one in the world who can stand shoulder to shoulder with him. However, the ancient method that can cultivate the realm of chaos in the post-White Mist era can also be called a peerless treasure. If you can get it, it's probably not far away to dominate the northern border. He spoke leisurely. At this moment, he has determined that there is something strange among the dead. It is very likely that it involves some taboos, or even an organization that is hostile to their visitors. And they who are probing taboos are probing taboos. Well, let Xuanhuan go die first and find out. When Xian Tiankai and others heard this, their breathing became rapid. We understand, let's act now. Xian Tiankai spoke. After speaking, he paused again and said. Sir, the dog's illness. His eyes were full of hope. Xian Tiankai, as the leader of Xianyi sect, of course he also saw what Xuanhuan could see. However, he had no choice. His son Xian Yiming suffered from a strange disease 3 years ago and could not be cured. This man in black robe is the only savior. The man in black robe said calmly. Your son is both ice and fire. He is a peerless genius. This elixir can save your son from illness, and it can also reconcile the source of ice and fire in his body, allowing him to soar into the sky. Hearing this, Xian Tiankai looked extremely surprised and said. Thank you, sir. Sir, don't worry, my Xuanhuan will definitely be a mess for you. Immediately, Xuanhuan gathered his troops and was about to attack dead man Huang. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 749. Not long after, the man in black robe returned to the hidden place in the back mountain of Xuanhuan. Sir, what do you think? Is this big tomb what you are looking for this time? Wu Qi came up to him with a look of anticipation on his face. If so, he can pass the assessment and join the organization. However, the man in black robe just said lightly. No. No. Now it seems that this large tomb is definitely not a corpse place. Otherwise, if the evil corpse is born, even the organization that has always been against them will not be able to suppress it. Wu Qi suddenly looked extremely ugly. I have asked Xuanhuan to attack dead man Huang. The man in black robe continued. Before this, I was quite curious. What is the origin of your lineage of tomb keepers? What is your connection with ancient practitioners? He looked at Wu Qi. When Wu Qi heard this, he immediately said, the line of tomb keepers has held the oath for generations, waiting for the person who takes the oath. As for the practitioners of the ancient method, my clan has nothing to do with the practitioners of the ancient method. He was thinking and suddenly said, no, the Mo family, a powerful ancient clan in Baixuanzhou, once had a marriage contract with our clan. The man in black robe said, Mo family. Yes, Mo family. The man in black robe thought and said, the Mo family, this family seems to have produced one or two geniuses, and it is quite famous in the chaos ancestral realm. However, they are not that capable. He shook his head. Beside him, Ao Wushuan suddenly said, Sir, are we going to deal with the dead man? The man in black robe nodded and said, of course. Ao Wushuan was immediately speechless. Our organization is really committing suicide. This begins. He couldn't help but worry about the future of the organization. Now, somewhere in the secret palace of Xianyizong, Xiantian took it seriously and fed the elixir given by He Luo to his son Xian Yiming. Xian Yiming's face turned pale. After taking the elixir, the chaotic aura of ice and fire in his body suddenly stopped. Dad, I'm fine. Xian Yiming spoke excitedly. Xian Tiankai even looked overjoyed and said, okay, great. My son has recovered from his illness and will surely soar into the sky. He was very excited. At this moment, Xian Kaiyulan outside had also come over and said, Sect Master, the disciples have gathered. It's time to go. Xian Tiankai nodded and said, I'll come soon. Xian Kaiyulan immediately retreated. Dad, where are you going? Xian Yiming looked at Xian Kaiyulan. Xian Tiankai said, go to hell. Xian Yiming said, I have recovered from my illness, so I will go too. Xian Tiankai shook his head and said, no, your top priority is to compete in the martial arts gold list. I will arrange for someone to escort you to Balan Dynasty. You are the same body of ice and fire. Now that you have been able to reconcile it, you will surely soar into the sky. If you can win the favor of the martial arts golden list, our Xianyi sect will surely flourish. Xian Yiming nodded. Soon, Xianyizong was dispatched in full force. And at this moment, amidst the dead, a beautiful shadow quickly passed through it. It was Xian King Ai. After she escaped from Xuanyi Mountain, she flew all the way to the dead man's wasteland. Because she understood that she was forced by the man in black robe to reveal the things in the dead man's desert, and the man in black robe would never give up. I'm afraid that the grave keepers, and even the few ancient practitioners will be in great trouble. She didn't want to just leave. Not long after, she finally saw the valley of the Tomb Keeper clan. Before arriving at the valley, she said, Xian King Ai, Xian Yizong, come to visit. In front of the oath-keeping valley, two oath-keepers wearing linen clothes suddenly appeared. It turns out to be the girl in green, please. One of them spoke. A few days ago, when Wu Xiaokan returned to save his people, Xian King Ai came to help, and the oath-keepers all recognized her. Xian King Ai followed these two people inside. Walking into the valley, I saw hundreds of oath-keepers arranged in pairs. At this moment, facing the rising sun, they were practicing some kind of great skill. 1 2 3 4. 2 2 3 4. The leader is Wu Song, who is teaching everyone and is sweating profusely. Xian King Ai couldn't help but be startled. She clearly discovered that when hundreds of oath keepers were practicing this great technique uniformly, the original energy between heaven and earth seemed to be stirred by it, and the earth was trembling. Very horrible. It's only been a few days, but the Oath Keeper's clan's strength seems to have increased tremendously. She couldn't help but be alarmed. Wasn't the method passed down by those ancient practitioners back then too strong? Mr. Wu, the girl in blue from Xuanhuan, is here to visit. The person who took her into the valley stepped forward and spoke. Hearing this, Wu Song stopped immediately, a flash of thinking flashed in his eyes. Xian King I came all the way, maybe something happened. You keep practicing. He immediately spoke to the tribesman, and then called Wu Xiaocan as well. Miss Xian, please come with me. The three of them immediately moved and entered the Oath Keeper's hall. Miss Xian, why are you here? Wu Song spoke. Xian King I said. I'm here, to tell Mr. Wu, Oath Keeper, I'm afraid a disaster is not far away. Hearing this, Wu Song and Wu Xiaocan's expressions changed slightly. I wonder what the girl said, what exactly happened? Wu Song spoke solemnly. Xian King I immediately told the whole story. The man in black robe is the mastermind behind the scenes. It can be said that the reason why Wu Qi betrayed the Tomb Keeper, and the reason why the major families came to the Death Wasteland, were all driven by him. Xian King I said. Now that he knows about the Oath Keepers, I'm afraid he will never let go. When Wu Song heard this, his expression changed. This person is deliberately trying to open the tomb guarded by our clan. He murmured and said. The plan is very big, the plan is very big. Wu Xiaocan clenched his fists and said. Grandpa Wu, don't be afraid. As long as the master is here, no matter who it is, we don't have to be afraid. Xian King I shook his head and said. Those three ancient practitioners are certainly powerful, but their cultivation is not enough after all. They cannot stop the Xianyi sect, let alone the man in black robes. Wu Xiaocan's expression remained unchanged and he said. Even if the master is not strong enough, the master's master can suppress everything. He was full of confidence. Xian King I was immediately shocked. Those three ancient practitioners had teachers. What kind of person can teach such a powerful disciple? While several people were discussing, a shout suddenly came from outside the oath-keeping valley. Mo Minglan, the daughter of the Mo family, is here to visit. This sound came and shook the valley. In the hall, a flash of doubt flashed across Wu Xiaocan's face. At this time, why are the Mo family here? Wu Xiaocan is engaged to the daughter of the Mo family, a wealthy ancient family in Baichuanzhou. Wu Song, on the other hand, looked happy and said. The Mo family is here. Are you here to help? Come out to greet us. He spoke immediately. Soon, Wu Song and Wu Xiaocan, together with the masters of the clan, went to greet him. I saw a group of people coming slowly from the direction of the valley. All of this team of people were riding black-scaled horses, headed by a young girl, riding a rare white lion horse. The white lion horse is a beast of chaos in the three realms. The mount is enough to show the noble status of the visitor. Generally speaking, mounts are not allowed to enter the valley and can only stay outside the valley, but they rode in. Mr. Wu, they refuse to dismount, I can't stop them. A middle-aged man who was guarding the valley came over and spoke in a low voice in front of Wu Song, his expression ugly. There was also a bloody whip mark on his shoulder. It's like being whipped. Wu Song was startled when he saw this, and a flash of anger flashed in his eyes. At this moment, the team of people was approaching. The leading girl did not dismount. She looked down at the oath keepers from a high position and said. Who is Wu Xiaocan? When going out for National Day, I will go to Hunan first and then Shandong. It is impossible to code words. Traveling is the only way to survive like this. Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 750. In the Oath-Keeping Valley, the people from the Mo family were high up, without dismounting their horses, looking at the Oath-Keeper's clan calmly. "Who is Wu Xiaokan?" the leading girl asked coldly. Hearing this, Wu Xiaokan immediately stepped out and said, "I am Wu Xiaokan, who are you?" The girl looked at Wu Xiaokan, looked up and down, and couldn't help but say, "You are actually in the realm of chaos. Too weak. Too weak." Wu Song stepped forward and said in a deep voice, "What's the matter with this girl? You and I are considered in-laws, so why are you so high on others and hurting my people?" There was a sullen expression on his face. However, the girl smiled and said, "In-law? Old man, I think I should remind you that our two families have never really gotten married. All we have is an illusory engagement. And I am here today to resolve this matter." She spoke. Wu Song raised his eyebrows and said, "Solve it? How to solve it?" The girl said, "The engagement in the past was a mistake in itself. My sister Mo Mingzu is a proud daughter of heaven. She has been spotted by Balan Dynasty Martial Arts Pavilion. She is one of the top 10 geniuses who have the best chance to compete for the martial arts gold list in the past century. Now, the Great Dao Golden List has been revealed in the direction of the Imperial Dynasty in the north of Baichuanzhou. It won't be long before my sister is favored by the Golden List and becomes the most dazzling woman in the martial world. And what about him?" She glanced at Wu Xiaokan, shook her head and said, "The realm of chaos, I'm sorry, but let me be honest, ants and true phoenix should never have come together. So, the purpose of my visit is very simple. On behalf of my sister, I want to terminate this inappropriate marriage. I hope you will cooperate." Hearing this, everyone in the Oath Keepers line immediately became angry. The Mo family, they go too far to bully others. Haha, you call your sister a phoenix, but you regard Xiaokan as an ant. What a loud tone. Wu Song even flashed an angry look on his face and said, "Girl, don't you think it's too much to bully someone?" The girl shook her head and said, "Old man, this is not bullying. I have fulfilled my courtesy by coming to the door in person." Next to him, Wu Xiaokan suddenly raised his eyes, looked at the girl, and said, "Entering my clan's land, hurting my clansmen, facing the elders of my clan, not even dismounting, standing high above them, is this what you call etiquette?" There was anger in his eyes. "The Mo family are too arrogant. Who do you think you are? You dare to yell at Miss Xuanhuan?" Behind the girl Mo Minglan, a powerful middle-aged man immediately scolded her. However, Mo Minglan frowned slightly and reached out to stop him. Then, Mo Minglan slowly dismounted and said, "This is the greatest respect I can give the nobles on behalf of the Mo family." She glanced at Wu Song, and then looked at Wu Xiaokan. "I am willing to take care of your poor self-esteem, but I also hope you can understand the gap between us. There is such a gap between your two families. Don't be angry because of your humble self-esteem. Breaking off the engagement will only be good for you. If you break the engagement, our Mo family will also make some compensation to you." She took out a brocade box and said, "This is a realm-breaking pill, enough to elevate you to a higher realm. Hand over the marriage certificate from that year." In the past, Mo Yan, the ancestor of the Mo family, entered the dead man's desert and was on the verge of death, but was rescued by Wu Xiaokan's father. In gratitude for saving his life, Mo Yan betrothed his granddaughter to Wu Xiaokan. When the two families got engaged, Mo Minglan's father and Wu Xiaokan's father signed a marriage contract. As long as the marriage contract remains intact, it will always be a shackles to the Mo family. Wu Song shook his head and said, "My clan has never forced this marriage contract. This marriage contract was promised by Mo Yan, the ancestor of the Mo family, in the past. You can cancel the engagement and let him come to the door in person. He is angry. A melon that is twisted is not sweet, and the Oath Keepers are definitely not following the trend and insisting on clinging to the Mo family. However, the other party's attitude was too arrogant and full of contempt. The ancestor of the Mo family, Mo Mingzu's father, and even Mo Mingzu herself, none of them came. It was only Mo Mingzu's sister who came. This is almost humiliating. Mo Minglin suddenly frowned and said angrily, "Don't talk nonsense. What do you want? That's why you're willing to break off the engagement. Well, if you want anything besides this realm-breaking pill, just say it. As long as it doesn't involve my clan's secrets, I can give it to you." She was filled with impatience. Sure enough, this kind of poor family is the most difficult to deal with. In her opinion, the Tomb Keeper lineage is just greedy and wants more benefits. When Wu Song heard this, he clenched his fists and said, "In the eyes of the Mo family, my lineage of grave keepers, is it so lowly?" Wu Xiaoqan stepped forward and said, "I never cared about this engagement." He looked at Mo Minglin and said, "I can give you the marriage certificate. But, I want to bow my head and apologize to my people. Apologize for your hurtful actions, apologize for your arrogance and rudeness, apologize for your aggressiveness. The Mo family's elixir? Treasure. He doesn't even care. However, he would never tolerate his own people being insulted like this." When Mo Minglin heard this, she was startled for a moment, then became furious and said, "You want me to apologize? You want me to apologize to you? Just because you are a loser, just because of you country bumpkins. Wishful thinking." Angrily, she spoke her mind directly. In her opinion, Wu Xiaoqan was a loser, and the Tomb Keepers were just a bunch of old-fashioned country bumpkins. Make her apologize? This is absolutely impossible. Young man, it's over. At this time, next to Mo Minglin, an old man also spoke. He is Mo Minglin's protector, Mo Fenjiun. In the Mo family, Mo Fenjiun also had a high status. At this moment, he spoke indifferently and said, "Whether you admit it or not, Minglin and you are completely different. We are not on the same level at all. Asking her to apologize to you is unreasonable." Wu Xiaoqan said, "Not on the same level." He said, "The Mo family is so superior, then, do you dare to fight? If Mo Minglin wins, I will hand over the marriage certificate with both hands without any hesitation. If she loses, I just want an apology. Do you dare to fight?" At this moment, Wu Xiaoqan was as powerful as a rainbow. He doesn't want a treasure, nor a so-called engagement. Fight now, just for a share of dignity. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. "Xiaoqan, you can't do that. Mo Minglin is already a cultivator in the Lingquan realm, and the gap in realm is too big." Even the Oath Keepers spoke up. Everyone in the Mo family burst into laughter. They looked at Wu Xiaoqan as if they were a fool. "Haha, you are using your arms as a chariot, and you are bringing yourself to disgrace. You don't know what you can do. Perhaps, this clan should be given a few loud slaps in the face to make them fully understand the gap." They were sarcastic. Mo Minglin was even more startled for a moment, and then anger flashed in her beautiful eyes. You loser, dare to challenge me." She felt insulted and slighted. Wu Xiaoqan was neither humble nor arrogant, and said, "Do you dare to fight? Do you dare to gamble?" Mo Minglin was very angry and said, "Would I dare not? Don't say you can beat me. As long as you can survive 10 attacks from me, I will also give you the so-called apology." After saying that, she moved suddenly, very fast, approached Wu Xiaoqan, and attacked Wu Xiaoqan. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Goexin. Chapter 751. Mo Minglin was already moving, her movements were as sharp and swift as a divine ape. She is a practitioner of the second realm of chaos and the spiritual spring realm, and she has reached the middle stage of spiritual spring. Wu Xiaoqan, on the other hand, had just entered the realm of chaos from Shinto, and was only in the middle stage of the spiritual realm. Mo Minglin's cultivation level is 2 steps higher than Wu Xiaoqan's. Moreover, at this moment, she took action with hatred and tried her best. She wanted Wu Xiaoqan to understand what the real gap was. Shen Yuan Bo Tian. She shouted, and in the chaotic spiritual spring, spiritual power surged, covering her hands, capable of destroying gold and iron. Coming up is a surefire move. Haha, this kid will be disabled even if he doesn't die. Pay the price for his impulsiveness. If he doesn't die, he will regret this day for the rest of his life. Everyone in the Mo family sneered. They had already seen that Wu Xiaoqan would be defeated as soon as Mo Minglin used her special move. The Divine Ape Fighting Sky is an ancient combat technique, extremely powerful. As an ancient method family, the Mo family has been able to stand firm in the post-White Mist era because they not only possess ancient methods, but also practiced 9 methods. The 9 Dharma are the roots and the ancient Dharma are the leaves. At this moment, Wu Xiaoqan felt a strong wind coming from his face, as sharp as a knife. Mo Minglin's palms were already approaching. Xiaoqan. Wu Song was shocked when he saw this, and subconsciously wanted to save him. He felt that Wu Xiaoqan could not stop him. However, Mo Minglin's protector, Mo Fenjian, had already landed beside Wu Song. It's just a discussion among young people. Isn't it appropriate for you and me to interfere? Mo Fenjian sneered, guarding against Wu Song, and then looked at the battle situation calmly. There was a trace of expectation in his eyes. If Mo Minglin killed Wu Xiaoqan with one palm, it would be over. But, in the next moment, Mo Fenjian was shocked. Because he saw that when Mo Minglin's palm was about to hit Wu Xiaoqan, Wu Xiaoqan raised his hand. He made a weird move. At the same time, a very rhythmic syllable sounded in his mouth. 1 2 3 4. Wu Xiaoqan let out a low drink and made 2 body movements in a coherent manner. At this moment, the surrounding chaotic spiritual energy suddenly surged in. Wu Xiaoqan seemed to have become a whirlpool. Mo Minglin was also shocked at this moment, because she felt that the powerful spiritual power attached to her arm seemed to be flowing towards Wu Xiaoqan. How can this be? The white mist and grey mist surged wildly, and she saw Wu Xiaoqan's calm face. And Wu Xiaoqan's third action. The third action is kick. No. Mo Minglin's pretty face changed drastically. She had a premonition of something and tried her best to stop him, blocking her abdomen with her palms. However, a strong force suddenly struck. Ah! Mo Minglin let out a shrill scream, and she was kicked away like a frustrated ball. Bang! It flew out and hit the ground hard. Smoke and dust were everywhere. At this moment, the place was silent. Everyone looked at the scene in stunned silence. It was like seeing a ghost. What's going on? Miss? Lost. How could it be? The divine ape used all the tricks to fight the sky, how could he be defeated? Everyone was speechless. Even the Oath Keepers clan was a little confused at the moment. They all recognized what Wu Xiaoqan was using just now. That's the great gymnastics technique taught by Master Qing Chen. Actually, so strong. The art of gymnastics is not only a method for cultivating the realm of chaos, it is also a combat skill. Incredible, too strong. Everyone murmured. And Mo Fenjian also lost his voice at this moment and said, "No, this is an ancient method." He could see clearly just now that Wu Xiaoqan was clearly just 3 movements. However, every movement is extremely charming and profound. What kind of ancient method can contain such a complex avenue in 3 movements? Cannot imagine. When did the Oath Keepers master such a profound ancient method? At this moment, Mo Minglan, who was lying on the ground, stood up with difficulty. She covered her lower abdomen, feeling the severe pain in her lower abdomen, and there was a trace of grey blood at the corner of her mouth. You actually kicked me." Her eyes were full of shame and anger. She, as the daughter of the Mo family, was defeated by a poor boy. How can this be? Cannot accept. However, Wu Xiaoqan said. You lose. Apologize. Apologize. Upon hearing these 2 words, Mo Minglan was filled with hatred and almost went crazy, saying, "If you want me to apologize to you, it will never be possible." As the daughter of the Mo family, she would never accept grovelingly apologizing to someone she looked down upon. Wu Xiaoqan, just wait, you will regret what you did today. She turned around, mounted her horse, and rode away. The defeat made her face dull and she just wanted to leave quickly. Everyone in the Mo family also hurriedly followed Mo Minglan. Mo Fenjian was staring at Wu Xiaoqan for a long time. Where did the ancient method you master come from? His face was full of solemnity. Wu Xiaoqan said. No comment. Mo Fenjian said. If you are willing to dedicate this ancient method to the Mo family, there may be a chance to continue this marriage. You gravekeepers alone cannot retain this ancient law. How about coming with me to Mo's house? There was a hint of passion in his eyes. As a protector, he is knowledgeable and can feel that Wu Xiaoqan's 3 ancient techniques are definitely the best. It may even be stronger than the ones at the bottom of the box from the Mo family. He really didn't expect that the Tomb Keeper would have such a secret. If he had known about it earlier, he should have recruited Wu Xiaoqan into the clan first, used coercion and inducement to obtain the ancient method, and then it would not be too late to annul the engagement. Too sloppy. Now, we can only try our best to remedy it. If it weren't for Wu Song, who was from the Tomb Keeper's lineage, and his level was on par with him, he would have wanted to snatch it away. Wu Xiaoqan's eyes were wary and he said. Not interested in. Mo Fenjian's eyes suddenly sank. I give you a chance, not just for you, but also for your people. Did you know that Xian Yizong has come out in full force to come to the dead man's field to cause trouble for you gravekeepers? He told the matter calmly and said. Originally, as long as you agreed to break off the engagement, the Mo family would come forward to prevent this disaster for you. But I didn't expect that you were too stubborn and ruined a big thing. At this moment, your tribe is even more in danger. As long as you offer up the ancient method, my Mo family will shoulder the responsibility for this disaster for your clan. How about that? He believed that the Tomb Keeper had no choice. However, Wu Song said in a deep voice. If you really sacrifice the ancient method, I'm afraid the first one to kill our clan will be your Mo family, right? He can see clearly, and bear the catastrophe for the Tomb Keeper? The Mo family has no such intention. They were just motivated by profit. If they really got the ancient method, they would definitely kill the Tomb Keeper first. It seems, you are really stubborn. Mo Fenjian looked cold and said. I want to see if you still have such courage when Xian Yisek's troops arrive. After saying that, he got on his horse and rode away immediately. Xian Yizong is really here. The Mo family members have left, but everyone is a little worried. Among the Oath Keepers, Wu Song, the strongest, was only in the middle stage of the 3 realms of chaos. There are only 5 or 6 masters in the 2nd realm of chaos. And Xian Yizong is a force in the 4 realms. How to resist? Wu Xiaoqan opened his mouth and said. I'm going to find the master. His eyes were filled with determination. And at this moment, Su State, the world's attention. Xian Yizong, one of the 4 major sects in the Su kingdom, came out in full force to kill the people. This attracted attention from all sides. Is Xuanhuan crazy? Is a dead man worth such a big fight? It is said that a few days ago, Xuanhuan's troops entered the wasteland of the dead and explored a large tomb. As a result, the entire army was wiped out. Xuanhuan was furious about this. It was the tomb keepers who did it. Xuanhuan claimed that their sects Xiancheng and others died at the hands of those tomb keepers, so they want justice. The world is watching. Today, Xuanhuan's troops have already left Xuanhuan. The sword points at the dead man. Sir, do we really want to go to the dead desert? Xuanhuan and He Luo were on the same carriage. At this moment, his face was very worried. I escaped from that place, and I know that the wilderness is very evil, can I not go? He was still panicking. I can't even escape, but this person who commits suicide has to rush up. He Luo smiled slightly and said, rest assured. You have to have confidence in us visitors. No matter what is behind the gravekeeper, to us, it is just an ant. You are still young. In the future, you will understand how powerful the visitor is. Xuanhuan murmured. I just feel how crazy it is to commit suicide. Good night. Arrive in Changsha tomorrow.